It's my pleasure to welcome you here today to our second To Whom I May Concern event. I'm Stephanie Shivers. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer here at Care in Kind and the VP of Program Development. It's been my pleasure to help facilitate the bringing of this program to Care in Kind. On your chairs, when you came in, you saw some white cards. And if you could take that white card and find the side with lines on it, and the pen, you should have a pen with you as well. We're looking for the line side. Do you need a visual aid? Everybody's got it, right? One of these? If you don't have one, raise your hand and we'll bring one to you. I'd like you to just take a moment and write down 3 words that come to mind when you think about living with mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, or another dementia. 3 words that come to mind when you think about living with mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, or another form of dementia. And when you're done, you can just go ahead and tuck those cards away. Three words. There's no grade on this. Thank you. Today you're going to hear a script that was crafted by the individuals sitting before you, along with some others who are not in this room today. They will each share real stories, some of their own, some of others living with similar changes. I'm sure you can imagine the challenge and the vulnerability that it takes to speak before you today. And so please send your positive energy and thoughts to this group. To help calm any anxieties and to show your solidarity and support, we'd like to invite those of you who are in the room who are comfortable to join with us in the Serenity Prayer. Barbara?
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the strength to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Thank you. And now to get us started, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Stephen Lin, a previous group member of To Whom I May Concern, to share some opening remarks.
Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Lin, and I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease several years ago. I am honored to join you today and to introduce this group of brave individuals, knowing we will all leave today with new knowledge and understanding. Back in June, I was sitting in one of these exact chairs, sharing my own stories in a To Whom I May Concern performance. When I first decided to do this program at Care in Kind back in February, I must admit I thought, why am I here? Isn't there something better I could be doing with my time? But over the course of our 10 weekly meetings, I learned the incredible value of sharing my experiences with my group. Discussing similar problems and hearing how we all are navigating our cognitive changes so uniquely and powerfully is important work. And doing this in partnership with wonderful facilitators made us feel seen and heard. What we need to understand, what you need to understand, is that what you are about to hear are the real life experiences of the people sitting before you. These are their words, our words, woven into this creative production. These individuals, along with a few others not here today, have shared their stories and worked together with their facilitators, Anne and Pam, over the past few months to create the script that you are about to hear. I can personally attest that there is nothing better you could be doing with your time today. And so, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my colleagues. Jamie, Paula, Barbara, Alan. Listen now to their true tales. Ladies and gentlemen, to whom I may concern.
Doctor's appointment, 11:15.
Go to pharmacy.
Practice ukulele.
Where's that? Lunch with my kids.
Happiest volunteer at the assisted living.
Watch the ball game.
Buy groceries.
Feed my very special dog.
Daughter returns from Europe.
Have lunch.
Edit my poem.
Return books to the library.
Cognitive stimulation group. 10.
Whoa. Sometimes I think my life has been reduced to calendars and post-it notes. What was life like before post-its were invented? Those little yellow scraps of paper, they're like my memory these days. They hold important dates and numbers and appointments. As long as I don't lose them, I'm okay. My memory isn't so good. I've really become so self-conscious about it. Actually, I'm embarrassed. I wonder if people understand what's been happening to me. I try not to let anyone know, but that takes a lot of energy, and I need my energy. If I could just get across to them, my family, my friends, the people I live with, the people who try to help me, if I could just let them know what it's like to be me these days. Maybe if I wrote a letter, an open general letter to all those who care about me. Here goes. To whom I may concern. I know you think I've made a mistake. You think I meant to write to whom it may concern, but it's not a mistake. This letter is not about an it, a nameless, faceless object. This letter is about an I, and that is me. I'm writing to let you know what it's like to be me these days. This is not just any letter to some unknown person or persons, a form letter that complains or advises. And don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those general holiday letters either that people send to brag about their above-average children and hyperactive schedules. No one brags about the way my life has changed. Actually, most people don't even let others know about it. We keep quiet about this. You see, I have been diagnosed with dementia. Sounds bad, right? Actually, it's a terrible word to lose one's mind. But you can see that I haven't lost my mind. I have some problems, yes, but I'm still managing one day at a time. I want to share with you what it's like to live with this terrible disease. Yes, it is a terrible disease, but that doesn't mean that my life is terrible. I want so much for you to understand that because I think it would make you more comfortable when we're together. I can't always find my words when I'm with you in person. Actually, that's a part of the problem. Sometimes my mind goes blank, and by the time I find the words, you've already moved on to the next topic. I'm hoping a letter will be a better way to share my thoughts with you. A letter allows me to find the words without losing your attention. So here goes. Let me start at the beginning, which takes me back to the first days of memory tests and CT scans. Those were scary times. I've spoken to many others who've gone through the same thing, and for all of us, getting a diagnosis was the beginning of a whole new chapter in our lives.
Dear COVID times, or dear menopause, or dear who knows, you took away my work and replaced it with anxiety. You took away my friends and my mobility. I had a side gig as a comedic actress. You took my stage, my murder mystery dinner gigs and the theater performances. You took away my normal, and my normal turned into awful. Things got hard, and I couldn't get work. My copy editing, my main gig, was off. I never loved working, but my clients loved me, and I did need the money, and I had always found a way to support my boys and me. I was stressed out to the point where I even tried substitute teaching, which actually is a gas. Where did I go? During the pandemic, is that where I am? I was alone a lot and so lonesome. I had no appetite and I lost a lot of weight fast. My Italian friends told me I looked great. Others thought I was skeletal. I cried and cried for no reason at all in public. I kept wondering which of you, COVID or menopause or what, had taken over my life. At least I didn't get COVID like so many people I cared about. It was all so confusing. On a trip to Iceland with my family, the symptoms, hidden by isolation, became undeniable. I couldn't find my passport. It wasn't anywhere. For 2 days, I had my whole family, and a lot of other people too, searching, and we were convinced we wouldn't be able to get home on time. We would have to spend thousands of dollars to get back to the States. But finally, my sister found the passport inside my passport place in my own bag. My sister had noticed a lot, the sparkles in my vision, the inability to write copy or lesson plans. It seemed similar to my father's symptoms, my father, who had just been diagnosed with dementia. I feel like my sister diagnosed me first. I hate knowing I have dementia. I hate how you snuck up on me, and I hate how you've stolen so much from me.
Dear Doctor, I know that uncovering a diagnosis of MCI or Alzheimer's wasn't easy for you to identify, and I'm sure telling someone is no easy task, but I really do need to know the diagnosis, and I need you to tell me, to talk to me. It was offensive to me that my partner was told first. Would you have told her if it was any other diagnosis? Heart failure, kidney failure, brain failure should be no different. Telling her first made me incapable and invisible. Telling her first needs the stigma that people with chronic cognitive disabilities cannot be trusted to live their lives. Tell me, ask me my hopes and expectations. I will tell you.
Dear COVID pandemic, you fooled us all. You gave us the perfect way to deny the symptoms of Alzheimer's. Experts all over the globe started to point out the impact of isolation and loneliness. Loneliness even came up with COVID fog. And while those have a huge impact on many people, the symptoms in me turned out to be something else. The pandemic caused our move from our beloved Greenwich Village apartment to our Connecticut home. Masks and social distancing covered more than my face. They covered my brain changes. I've always been disorganized. I had lots of fears of driving and mundane things. A new brain scans. Wait, what did you say? A brain scan? Dementia? I was shocked.
Now, dear world of medicine, surprise. Getting this diagnosis is not all bad. There are some things you should know. I sought a
I sought a diagnosis because there are medications and support, and I'm a realist and optimist, both.
The diagnosis organized my disorganized self and challenged me to focus.
Pay attention to me, to all of me, not just my heart and my lungs. I'm more than my physical body.
It's a gift because I have to slow down.
The way forward for me is through music. The gift is all of you. To know I'm not alone.
To whom I may concern, yes, the diagnosis and evaluations are difficult times that don't go away. They're confusing and painful. Alzheimer's or FTD or whatever you have, turn your life upside down. One day you're feeling on top of your game, and then it's gone. In the days leading up to the diagnosis and for a long time afterward, you're pretty much in shock. You want answers, but at the same time you really don't want to know. And for many people, in the end, they only get a vague diagnosis.
And you're just getting older.
Might be from isolation.
Can't be completely sure what's causing this.
Etc., etc. It feels like a crapshoot. I knew something was wrong. I wanted help and support. It felt like people thought I was being lazy or disorganized. I couldn't sort all the things to do every day. They give you a handful of pills and a next appointment in 6 months. My life has just gone out the window and they say, see you in 6 months. What do I do now?
We adapt. Actually, some of us adapt old school strategies to make them work for us now. Or we use new technology. Everyone finds a way to cope. I've heard some amazing stories from people who are going through the same thing as I am. Many of them are on this stage now.
Dear diagnosis, I was shocked when it was suggested that I have cognitive assessments. You came out of the blue for me. You, my new label as someone living with dementia, is a very depressing experience. I took to my bed for nearly 3 weeks. I became overwhelmed with what lies ahead. You made me rethink my entire life, my relationships, my identity. It took some time to process. But one day I woke up and asked myself, if I had 24 hours to live, would I want to spend those 24 hours in bed feeling sorry for myself? Tomorrow, I could wake up, go out, and be hit by a car. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I was thinking about only you, and the answer was no. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I want to live and enjoy and thrive and flourish. I invite you to join me. Let's get on with living.
Dear stoop ball. Back and forth, throw and bounce, and catch and throw. My friends and I would play for hours. Brooklyn nights seemed endless then. We reminisce now, recognizing the back and forth of our thoughts and self-talk. I'm strong, I'm fading, I'm strong, I'm losing ground, I'm strong, I'm frightened, I'm strong. Good days and bad days bounce and catch. I know just like Alzheimer's, the stoop is an immovable opponent. Maybe if I throw with just the right power, or try a side throw, or do brain games, or learn about these new medications, or focus on music, I'll have a chance to fight back and win the game. Throw and bounce, catch and throw.
Dear Ultra Day Calendar, you are now my new best friend. You have been a lifeline, I print all my activities on your clean face in large letters so that nothing gets by me. I make it to all the groups and activities that I'm now enjoying. While I may no longer be seeing my clients in my psychotherapy practice or using public transportation alone, I am expanding and growing in so many ways. You help me not to miss a beat. I can plan my walks in beautiful Brooklyn Heights where I use my camera to create art and still make it back to my place in time for classes, meetups, and conversations. You help me organize my life. To whom I may concern. So, we are doing our best to adapt, to continue living our lives, but the ground under our feet is shifting. Those early days are difficult, not knowing, suspecting. For some people, the awareness came quickly because they already had a family member with cognitive loss, a mother, father, or a sister. Hard to fool yourself when you've already lived through it with a loved one or friend. But even if you know what Alzheimer's, FTD, Lewy body, cognitive loss is about, living day to day is a real challenge. Forgetting, that's a big part of it. Thoughts coming a bit slower, words missing, your mind goes blank. Somebody summed it up so well in one little phrase. Just give me a minute.
Dear piano, I miss tickling your keys. Can't make my fingers work the way they used to. I can't read and process the notes on the paper the way I used to. It frustrates me and saddens me. And yet I find it ironically funny that the only thing I can remember how to play offhand is from Cats. Memories all alone with you guys.
Dear Cooper. Dear Cooper, and Cooper is my loving, wonderful dog. He understands and I understand. Thank you. Thank you for coming along with me. I try to go places I know. That helps me keep any nervousness or anxiety at bay. But when I need to try something new, it is nice to have someone with me. Family, friend, or furry like you. Part of dealing with this disease, part of fighting back, is challenging myself. And I am. Always. I'm finding new joys, and in some ways, this is a true gift. I'm challenging myself to see what I can do. I just wanted to say thanks to all of you for accompanying me on the firsts.
Dear ukulele, whoever you are. Dear ukulele, you light up my life. Ukulele gives me hope to carry on. Ukulele lights up my days and fills my nights with song. Dr. Oliver Sacks, neurologist and author of Awakenings and other books, said, I play with my joyous memories. I play with music. His research found that listening to and performing music reactivates areas of the brain associated with memory, speech, and emotion. I'm in. We play together. You and I join my beautiful wife, Joan, and her guitar. We learn chords and tempos and lyrics. We are making new memories. You help me communicate with her through music. We send Joan love notes, and she and her guitar send some back. Music is my favorite way to cope and to fight this condition that attacks my brain. Ukulele, you give me hope.
Now for a musical interlude.
When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now,
Joan would like you to start again.
will you still be sending me a Valentine? Birthday greetings, bottle of wine. If I've been out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 94? I could be handy mending a fuse when your lights have gone. I can knit a sweater by the fireside. Sunday morning, go for a ride through the garden, digging the weeds. Who could ask for more? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 94? Thank you.
To whom I may concern, the words and the memories come slower or not at all. This disease has a way of silencing you. The plaques and tangles in my brain are doing their job, whatever that is. But we're not the only ones who are changing. Cognitive loss has a way of changing the people around us, too. We have friends and loved ones, and even healthcare professionals, who treat us very differently when they learn that we have cognitive changes. I don't wear a big sign around my neck that says, I have Alzheimer's disease, but people still talk to me louder and slower. This disease can bring out the best in people and sometimes, sadly, the worst. I've heard stories that really warm your heart and others that make you cry.
Dear Dr. Debbie, I know you are a well-respected neurologist, and I have heard about your book, The Spectrum of Hope. Thank you for your chapter that recommends and cautions us to consider a don't tell policy when we are first diagnosed with cognitive loss. You stress that this is a personal decision and must be tailored to our individual needs and our support. You outline reasons for caution. You say people may underestimate your competence and intelligence and treat you in ways you find patronizing. Your reactions and decisions may be second-guessed and attributed to dementia, even by well-meaning friends and family. I lost my way. Oh, even if your friends and family treat you differently, your confidence may diminish and your anxiety level may rise. What you say is sad but true. It's incredible. But I've heard stories like that in this group. I've heard about doctors ignoring us and speaking only to the spouse. I've heard about a spouse telling friends who then excluded the person from conversations. I never believed it would be true unless I heard it over and over. You finish with, all that said, telling may be better than dealing with the anxiety of keeping the diagnosis private, unquote. I'm not sure where to land. I don't know whether to tell people or not. There is so much I don't know how to deal with anymore, let alone managing the not always great reactions of others. Thanks for the heads up.
Here's stranger on the street.
Thank you for making eye contact with me, seeming open to polite conversation. Soon we find we have something in common. We are two souls enjoying the day. We are bound to this bench by rays of sunshine. In this light, you see me as a happy individual, caring and sharing pictures I've captured, images of street schmutz, described as a petticoated young woman playing a violin, and others. You see me as someone who will listen, interested. You see the true me, trusted, compassionate, counselor. Dementia doesn't exist at this moment. Your warm hug affirms the real me. When I tell people I have Alzheimer's, they respond with, I'm so sorry to hear that. They seem truly surprised when I tell them I'm having the time of my life. But I don't say, and I recommend it to all my friends, wink, wink.
Dear Assisted Living, I have to admit, at first I didn't want to meet you. I know you may be where I will live in the future, but not yet. But you coaxed me in. I show up to volunteer. I do chair exercises with many of your residents. They are so much fun. They love hanging out with me and get such enjoyment from our time together. And so do I. The other day I played Frank Sinatra for one of my resident friends, and we sang all the words together. I left on cloud 9. Not something I would ever have expected when I met you.
Kindness can ease the pain of an embarrassing situation. Humor helps too. When I told a friend recently that I had this memory problem, he came back with a quick joke. Don't you owe me $20? Friends can be great. My favorite joke is to introduce people to my two new friends, Amyloid and Tau.
Hey everyone, after working on this script, we have certainly become friends. We've shared things we aren't even willing to with the audience, our little secrets. Right now,
Right. Like our discussion of some of our favorite coping mechanisms that are totally not ready for prime time.
And our illuminating discussion on sex and dementia and aging. Right up my alley.
Is that a pun?
For real.
Let's not forget when we digress with our, what would your porn star name be? And you're supposed to use the name of your first pet and the street you grew up on. So mine was Pudgy Lincoln. We spend lots of time connecting, laughing, and finding new directions for our conversation to veer off.
it's been such fun getting to know each of you, to forget our diagnosis and just connect.
I couldn't agree more. Now, get back to the letters. To whom I may concern, some doors open, others close, but through it all we hold on to hope.
It's my book here. I'm going to read a poem I wrote from my book of poetry. A poem I wrote before I was diagnosed with dementia, but may have shown some precognition. It's entitled The Park Bench. By the way, this is my book, and all the drawings in here are mine. Can you focus? She is a woman no one notices, but for the park's few passers-by, captured by the honey tones rippling from her twisted mouth, lacily weaving fantasy into intricate patterns of beauty and wild, melody and tonic. Lured by her smiling camouflage, I behold how her yarns feed her hungry loneliness.
Dear Etsy, or whatever the online platform is called, I am so happy my daughter Li Bing introduced us. Who could imagine that I would be reinventing myself in my retirement? I loved being a therapist for all those years, but with cognitive issues, I thought it best to pull down my shingle. Since I didn't have to use energy on running that practice, I started creating. And I don't stop. So, to avoid surplus, I've decided to see if any of my new creations will sell. So, thanks for working with me to meet my new clients and witnessing me working and creating into my next phase of life.
Dear Lester Holt and Nora O'Donnell and David Moore, how do you determine what is newsworthy? How can we get you to tell the world that living with memory problems is not all gloom and doom? We know that the terrible stories of Alzheimer's are real. Okay. And that if you share the dark and negative, then people may be more motivated to support research. But To those of us living with dementia, it seems that reporting the fear and terrifying stories of Alzheimer's promotes the stigma of living with Alzheimer's and discourages people from facing their own symptoms. And it makes most people turn away from us. Honestly, it's not much different than living with any chronic disease. We can have a full life. We have bad days, of course, and we know what's to come. In spite of all that, we choose to live for today. I suggest you begin to report a few new angles. Report the courage of Barbara as she moved from her beloved Greenwich Village and edited her book of poetry. The creativity of Paula and her street schmutz. Sorry. The musical joy in Alan and his ukulele. With that reporting, our friends, families, doctors, and society at large could learn that we are still here, even on a bad day. We have a full range of emotions. We have hopes and fears, and we love listening to babies laugh and watching puppies play, traveling to visit family, seeing the sights, and enjoying free music at Lincoln Center. We are still alive.
To whom I may concern, what more can I tell you? Let me just end by going back to the I of your concern. You can see from our stories that we are ordinary people trying to make the most of a difficult situation. We don't want to disappear. We're doing all the things the experts say we should be doing. We exercise our minds and our bodies. We keep up with the research. We take our pills. We also try to forget. I know that may sound funny, forgetting is at the heart of our problem, but we do try to forget about our illness. We don't want it to define us. We are more than our memory. And on that note, let me end this letter. Enough about me. How are you these days? Let's get together soon, and thanks for listening and for your concern. Creatively, Paula.
Excellent. Lovingly and musically, Alan.
Thankfully, Barbara.
Thankfully.
With gusto, Jamie.
And we're not done yet. A million tomorrows may all fade, but we have today. Today, while the blossoms still cling
I gotta get you.
You can move in.